Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. So we're starting this video off with very big news in the means of Big Ramy. So Ramy's offseason has finally come to an end. He is currently sitting at 337 pounds, and this is his starting point for this year's Olympia prep. And to think this is the starting point for Big Ramy is scary, man. He's probably going to be the best he's ever been, and I do think it is going to be a great fight for second place at this year's Olympia. And I personally believe that Ramy made a serious mindset change going into this prep. As we all know, last year everyone said, Ramy didn't train for 6 or 7 months, wasn't really focused on bodybuilding, had a lot of things going on in his personal and marriage life. But I think this year he was a lot more focused, and he was able to win the title last year, honestly being off, taking half the year off of training. But with Big Ramy actually putting his foot on the gas this year, I think he'll be a lot better. And I've noticed that ever since Big Ramy has been putting out updates, I don't think I've heard anyone say that they're going to win this year's Olympia. So that says a lot. Now, in the next update of the day, these are the most recent updates of Nick Walker. Nick has definitely put some size on the legs this offseason, which was one of his main critiques after last year. He did suffer a slight quad injury earlier in the year last year. But going into this year's Olympia, Nick is going to be very competitive. I do think he's going to be improved. He was making all of those improvements last year while constantly competing. Nick has had a full calendar year off. He's also training with Kamal El-Garni. And Kamal is a former Olympia champion as well as a guy that's known for his conditioning. So Nick has a great coach, but I also think him training with Kamal every day is going to make him a lot better going into this year's Olympia. They're both pushing each other very, very hard. Now switching over to Blessing Awodibu, this is the most recent update from him. He said that Phil Heath actually came down to train with him, and I guess run him through some poses at the Redcon gym for Blessing's birthday. Now going into this year's Olympia, Blessing was doing a lot of talking initially. He's actually been pretty quiet lately, just working. Now as you guys know, Blessing works with George Farah, who also coaches Andrew Jack. And George Farah honestly seems to be on a roll right now. So going into this year's Olympia, Blessing, he may be able to get the top 10, but honestly this Olympia is so competitive, guys, we never know. But Blessing, just like Andrew Jade, always brings a crazy wow factor. So who knows, guys? Who knows? Now, another guy that brings a crazy wow factor is Marc Hector. These are the most recent updates of him ahead of this weekend's Arnold Classic UK. And stick around to the end of this video, guys. I will actually give you guys my breakdown and my predictions for this show. But as you guys can see, Marc looks incredible as usual. The legs actually look pretty good, but we're all wondering how they're going to look in comparison to James Hollingshead, Martin Fitzwater, Andrew Jack, who all have incredible quads. And once we take a look at this ab shot, we can definitely see it still looks like he needs to put some size onto the legs. But these are still incredible updates from him. I just have to be honest with what I see. You guys let me know in the comment section below early, before you get to the predictions, where do you guys have Marc Hector placing at this Arnold Classic UK? And switching over to 212, these are recent updates of Keone Pearson. And Keone's waist actually looks a little bit smaller. So from Tampa Pro to this year's Olympia, what does Keone need to do to be more competitive? Of course, he could be more conditioned. I shared with you guys some pictures he actually took in the hotel prior to going on stage. He actually looked a lot more conditioned there. So I'm not sure if Keone is still dealing with the nerves or not. But as I mentioned in my last video, controlling the midsection, coming in tighter than Tampa, Keone is going to be very dangerous at this year's Olympia. And in the next update of the day, a wild card for this year's 212 Olympia, YunLong. You guys let me know in the comment section below, as usual, how do you guys think YunLong is going to place in the 212? Honestly, I have no idea at all. He could place up in the top 5, or he could be lower towards second call out, top 10 area. But this guy brings a crazy wow factor. He is a little bit taller than some of the competitors, but I'm excited to see him. We really haven't talked about him much. Hasn't been much coverage on YunLong since he won the Thailand Pro, but I'm excited to see him at this year's Olympia. Switching over to Classic Physique, these are the most recent updates of Breon Ansley. And I want to preface this with, Breon is my favorite physique in bodybuilding today out of any division. Honestly, what got me into the sport was the rivalry between Breon and Chris Bumstead going into the 2020 Mr. Olympia. Breon's quad sweeps are completely gone. I think it's going to be very hard for Breon to still be competitive in the Classic Physique division. Even after this year, he already said he's going to go up to 212. And I honestly think he may have more luck competing in Classic. Breon is well above the weight cap right now, and legs are not looking good at all, man, and they're only going to get smaller. I just had to be honest. Now, ahead of this Arnold Classic UK, these are the most recent updates from Michael Daboul. And this guy has some crazy quads. Look at the teardrops and the separation all the way up to the hip. One of the most conditioned guys in the sport. And he actually is coming in more conditioned than he was at the Arnold Classic somehow. And Michael actually won the Arnold Classic UK last year in the Classic Physique division. Don't know if I mentioned that. But let's go ahead and get into the breakdown and the predictions for this weekend's Arnold Classic UK in the open class division. And you guys are currently looking at the competitors list for this weekend's Arnold Classic UK. And one guy that I don't have in my top 6, actually 2 guys. Jamie the Giant Johal could definitely get in there. Honestly, in my personal opinion, I believe he could have placed higher at the Yamamoto Cup. That's just my personal opinion. And of course, Lionel Bayeki. I mean, you never know, guys. You never know. But I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a small breakdown for each of these guys, as well as giving you my predictions, starting with number 6. So in 6th place, I have the veteran Max Charles. The picture on the left is from this year's Boston Pro, and the picture on the right is from this year's New York Pro. 2 of his better versions from this year. But honestly, we're not sure how Max is going to show up. If he shows up as usual, I see him around 6th place, maybe pushing 5th. If Max comes in at his all-time best, I can see him maybe placing 4th, taking nothing away from him at all. This is a very competitive lineup. But Max Charles is a guy that always sneaks in, just like he snuck in this show. I mean, who knows, man? Max is always in the mix. You never know with him. Now, in 5th place, I have Patrick Johnson. This is him from last year's Arnold Classic UK, where he placed 4th behind Nathan Diasha, Samson Dowda, and Theo LeGreger. A lot of people are looking at him as a dark horse for this show. And just like Max Charles, I believe Patrick Johnson can be a guy in the top 4 if he comes in with one of his better packages. Honestly, I'm hoping that Max Charles nails it, because I believe him and Patrick Johnson, they have similar physiques, especially when they're very conditioned. I think they'll match up pretty well. But Patrick is very, very freaky. Max is an older guy, but he still has that crazy, grainy look to his skin. This is going to be a very good show, guys. I'm excited to see these guys side by side. And in 4th place, I have James Hollingshead. Now, as far as we know, James is coaching himself going into this show. He isn't working with Patrick Tour, but there is a possibility he is having trained by JP. Take a look at him. Now, I think a lot of people hype James up because he's a great bodybuilder. He's a bodybuilder's bodybuilder. James puts in the work. He really loves the sport. Also one of the strongest guys we have in the sport. But I do think he doesn't have as many genetic gifts as some of the guys he's competing against. James is about 5'11" and very, very narrow. And I think he's going to be exposed structurally against some of these guys. Nothing against James at all. And in 3rd place, I have Marc Hector. Now, this is a decision I went back and forth with for a very long time. Probably all the way up until me recording this video. You guys are currently looking at him from the 2020 British Grand Prix. He actually placed 3rd and James Hollingshead won this show. This physique looks absolutely incredible. And we already know he's going to be 20 to 25 pounds heavier. And I know they can be dangerous. But same with Andrew Jack making his pro debut. Same with Nick Walker at the Arnold Classic UK. Those guys got a lot of hype going into these shows. But we still have to see them next to these guys to actually see how they're going to do. I've heard people call Marc Hector Brandon Curry 2.0, but we'll have to wait till Sunday to actually see, which is why I have him in 3rd place. I do believe the legs could potentially hold him back. And in 2nd place, I have Martin Fitzwater. Now, even though he placed 2nd at this Texas Pro and brought an incredible package, I think he is probably one of the most underrated guys in bodybuilding today. Some people still don't realize exactly how good Martin is. I'm going to make a very bold statement right now. Imagine Martin Fitzwater with arms and let's say 15 pounds of muscle. I don't see why this physique couldn't contend for the Mr. Olympia. Imagine Martin with a little bit more arms and a little bit more mass on this back double. Very well could be the best in bodybuilding today. I think Martin Fitzwater is going to be even better at this show. He suffered a slight quad injury prior to Texas, but I think he started back training legs, and the legs are going to be better for the Arnold Classic UK. But Martin, you definitely have to put your phone down and talk a little less. And winning the 2022 Arnold Classic UK, I predict Andrew Jack, as I'm pretty sure everyone probably is going to do. Andrew shocked everyone winning his pro debut with the Texas Pro, and him and George Farrer promised to be better at this Arnold Classic UK. Now, Andrew has been pretty covered up. He hasn't really put out any updates since that show, but he knows he needs to work on presentation a little bit. He has some great ideas for posing, but just needs to work on actually presenting the body, and also needs to work on conditioning. So I'm pretty sure those are going to be his main 2 points coming into this show, and they're just going to learn his body even better for this year's Olympia. But if he comes in the same as Texas, Martin Fitzwater is better. I don't know, guys. It maybe could be a push. But I'm pretty sure Andrew Jack is going to be better. You know, he's pretty much only done like 3, 4, 5 week preps. But with Andrew prepping longer for this Arnold Classic UK, I believe we're going to see the best Andrew Jack to date. And hopefully even better at the Olympia. So you guys let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about my opinions? You know, am I crazy? And since this was halfway a news video, I am going to end here with an archive of the day. Very easy bodybuilder to guess, but you guys let me know who is this. And even better if you guys can guess the year and the show. As always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Keone from Go Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.